Cody and I met in February or March of 2013. His sister had asked me to come up and work on some barrel horses for her. And she actually had to be away, so he ended up holding horses for me. I left him a business card, and I think he called me in May of that year to come and work on horses. I worked on probably 25 horses before I realized that what he was getting me, he was more interested in meat, I think, than getting horses worked on. But I got some money out of him anyway, so we started dating shortly after. I think we got engaged in 2015, and we were engaged until this spring when we finally got married in Mexico. I'm not a girly girl where I really was anxious to plan a wedding. I had lots of people that were wanting to help. It just wasn't really important to us, and anytime we ever had extra money, we bought new wagon horses or new barrel horses. So I was on a road trip with one of my best friends this winter, and we just decided that maybe we had just a destination wedding to get this over with before we both got too old. So I think we had a wedding planned in 3 days on a road trip. We went for 2 weeks. The wedding was in Playa del Carmen on day 4. We decided to stay an extra week after all our guests left, just as like it's probably been, I don't think me and Cody ever went on a vacation. The last warm vacation we went on is when Evan and Adrian got married in Hawaii, so that was about 8 years ago. So we just wanted to really enjoy our time over there, but before we had to come home and start spring training. The first few years I met Cody, I came full-time on the Wagons for about 4 or 5 years. I've taken a break coming the last 2 or 3 years. We just have some really nice barrel horses sitting at home too that need to be rode all summer and competed on, and if I'm here they don't get competed on, and it's just a waste of good horses. So this year I've only been to Grand Prairie, and then I've stayed home, and I just came the day before we moved into Calgary. When I do come, like, I try and help out in the barn in the morning. I want to make sure all their legs are taken care of, any sort of body work that we can do during the day. I used to take outright horses over. I'd rather stay back and help hook and take care of the horses before and after the race, so that's kind of what I've been doing here. I just like to watch from the second turn around the track. I don't like to watch the barrel turns as much anymore. Velma we went to Fort Erie, I think, in Ontario about 3 years ago. We always used to get some horses shipped from Fort Erie. We have a good hook up there that we trust that would send us horses. We decided we wanted to go on a trip. I had actually gotten hurt. I broke my elbow that fall, so I wasn't riding, so we decided to jump in the truck and head there ourselves. We followed Velma back off the track one morning. He's huge, so we fell in love with him. We followed him back. The trainer actually met us. He came out and realized we were looking for horses. He didn't want to sell Velma that week, so we left our number and said to please keep in touch, and we watched him race in Ohio all winter. And then sure enough, he called us in the spring and said he was ready to sell him, and we did get him shipped from Ohio. This is Velma's first trip to Calgary, and he's just a very busy, playful horse, so he was just getting a little cranky after the first couple days here, he hasn't ran here yet, he'll run tomorrow. He's just getting a little cranky and a little anxious being stuck back here, so I got one of my good friends to pick him up a lick yesterday, and I think it's half gone, but it's kept him a little more quiet. I've noticed him sleep a little more in his stall. So Lucky just popped up every morning in the winter I sit and drink coffee for an hour. It's my ritual. I scroll Facebook, make my plan for the day. A whole bunch of thoroughbreds sitting at an auction mart in Winnipeg popped up on my Facebook feed. And of course I looked at them quick and I scrolled by, and then I don't know, I just had a gut feeling. So I scrolled back up, and there was one gelding out of all the mares. So I happened to just look up his name. I had nothing else to do, and I seen how good of a racehorse he was, and I just thought about it for a few minutes. I had $700 in my bank account. That's literally all I had. I mean, we were okay, but so I got a hold of Final Furlong, and I just said, listen, I just don't want a horse of this caliber to go to the meat buyers. So if there's an actual home sitting in the audience, let them take them. But if not, like, here's 700. I figured that's about what meat price was. Just don't let them go to a meat buyer. I didn't tell Cody at this point. I just wanted to let this play out and see what happened. 3 hours later, they said that we won them for $600 or $700. Then I did have to tell Cody that we bought a horse, and I mean, he was good about it. We were hauling horses lots at the time, so we had planned to go to Manitoba in the next month or so anyway. the final furlong, people were really good about finding a place to keep him there for two weeks until we could get there. He was in rough shape when we got him. They had put some weight on him there in the 2 weeks, but I mean, he's not a thick, like prosperous thoroughbred on a good day, so he was lacking some groceries. I didn't know anything about him. We just hoped he was sound and he wasn't too crazy. He was definitely crazy, but he is sound. We didn't do anything with him. I just put a blanket on him and I did his teeth when he got home. I just wanted him to sit in front of a round bale for 2 months, and that's what he did, and he gained a pile of weight really quickly. His teeth were really bad too, so that probably had something to do with it. I just tried to bring him out of the pasture one day and I lost him 3 times. And I mean, he'd just take off on me. And Cody was getting angry, like couldn't understand why I couldn't hold this horse. And so I handed him to Cody, and sure enough, 2 minutes later, Cody's chasing him down the pasture, and Cody had to let him go too. So he's a strong, kind of arrogant type of horse, and I think he just took advantage of some people along the way. He's not a cuddly, pet me, want lots of attention horse. He likes to have a job, and you let him do that and you leave him alone. We did take him with us last year. I think he finally got in some races in the Pinoca finals. I think on our second hook he went every night, and that's when he really started to come through. And the first night he came back, and Cody pointed at him and he looked at me and he said, "This is going to be a superstar." So thank God, because that was a big risk I took. But anyway, now he's on our #1 hook, and we're pretty lucky to have him. We try and support each other as best we can. Like, we probably have 45 horses between the two of us, and I hate to admit it, but probably half of those are mine. But we're trying to treat it as a business, right? Like, the barrel horses do make us money just like the wagon horses do. I'm really lucky that Cody is just as supportive in the barrel horse world as I am trying to be in the wagons. If he's not at a wagon race, like, he's there to watch me barrel race and to give me a hand. There's lots of jackpots that I'm running 4 or 5 different horses, and he'll always jump in and give me a hand. He's holding horses, cooling horses out, taking boots off, always videoing, always critiquing in his in the videos. There's always some commentary, but I appreciate having someone to talk to about that stuff, because as crazy as it is, we both need to go around barrels and go fast. So to have someone that we can shoot ideas off of, and I mean, I can see things and he can see things in what I do, and that's actually really interesting to be in 2 completely different sports and have that opportunity. Cody's at every barrel race he can be at, whether he's on the tractor raking, helping set up barrels, helping me with the horses I'm running. So I mean, we get somewhere and it takes us about 5 minutes to set up for a barrel race when I only got 4 head of horses to set up an electric fence for them, and he kind of likes that in the fall. We always joke that we're going to retire because taking care of barrel horses is way easier, but that'll never happen. But it's just a nice break for us when he is done wagon racing. I probably go for another 2 months pretty busy, and then all winter, like last winter when he wasn't trucking and I was riding 12 head of horses a day, that's 2 loads back and forth to town. So we'd haul the first load in, I'd stay and ride those 6, and he'd head home and grab the next 6 for me, get there, unload those 6, take the 6 I rode home, you know, and then help me with the last one. So we try, and I mean, all we do all day is do something with the horses, but it's a pretty cool life we get to live.